Hello, my name is Destiny. Thank you for watching my video and coming to my YouTube channel. I wanted to tell my pregnancy and my labor story. I will warn you that some things may be a little sad, but it was a blessing at the end. So I'll get right into it. I wrote some notes just so I don't forget anything because I didn't want to leave out any details. First, I'll talk about my pregnancy and my symptoms. Um, my pregnancy, I had morning sickness throughout my whole pregnancy. I wouldn't even call it morning sickness. I don't know why they call it that. It's all day sickness. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I had really low iron. And I had preeclampsia, which is like swollen hands and feet, protein in your urine, and high blood pressure. And I also had a major weight gain. Just being honest, the beginning of my pregnancy, I was about maybe 160, and by the end, I probably was about like 280, something in that. Um, so let me see. Before they did my ultrasounds to check my amniotic fluid because since I had gained so much weight, they thought that maybe there was another baby in there, or they thought my amniotic fluid was maybe too much, but I just had a chunky baby. That's it. So let's see. Fast forward to December 3rd. It was around maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. I wake up. I think I have to go to the bathroom, and when I went, I was bleeding like really, really bad. It was like a period blood, basically. So I woke my mom up. I'm like, Mom, hey, what's this? What's going on? She's like, so yeah, I think you're in labor. So I called my son's father. I'm like, meet me at the hospital, because I think I'm about to have this baby. But when I get there, um, they were just basically telling me, like, since my cervix didn't dilate, there was nothing that they could do, so they sent me home. But later on that morning, I had a doctor's appointment anyway, so they told me to just go ahead and see what my doctor says and maybe come back. So I went to my doctor and I'm like, explaining to her, like, hey, I'm bleeding. I went to the hospital this morning. They sent me home, what's going on. So, she checks the normals, the weight, and my blood pressure and all this stuff. And she's like, I don't think they should have sent you home. I'm gonna call to see if maybe you can be induced. Um, so I go later on that day, maybe around 2 or 3. Um, they were basically telling me like, hey, we have to check your blood, but we might can send you home. Well, they checked my blood and everything, and they're like, they came back in my room. They're like, oh no, you have to be induced today. Um, we're setting up your room right now. So, let's see. I get to my room and they give me an ultrasound just to basically check up on my baby, my son, to see if everything's okay. And they noticed that he had a bowel movement. They spoke about a C-section, but they only brought it up maybe one time. They didn't bring it up again, which was kind of surprising because now that I look back on it, I didn't realize that a baby having a bowel movement while he's still in the womb is very like it's really bad, and I should have gotten induced, but I didn't. Let's see. I'm gonna talk about my contractions and epidural. I did pretty good on my contractions. I did like walk around the hall back and forth if I didn't want to sit in the bed for too long. But then, people were telling me like, hey, well, you don't want to wait too late to get your epidural because remember that you have to sit still. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, because I don't think that I could sit still. I'm being honest. I don't think I could have sat still if I maybe waited any longer. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll go ahead and get my epidural. So I get the epidural. It's really not that bad because I was so focused on not moving every time I got a contraction. Um, So, okay, I get the epidural. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, this is working all right. But then I still feel contractions on my left side. And I'm like, wait a minute. I should not still be feeling contractions. I got this epidural. So I called them back. I'm like, I still feel contractions on my left side. So it was like my right side was numb, my left side, no. So they tried to put me in different positions, maybe to see if the epidural will go to the left side. It still didn't work. Um, so after a while, the whole epidural wore off, and it was really, really bad. Um, I kept blacking out. I don't really know what was the cause of that. If you know, please let me know in the comments. Cause I really didn't know, but yeah, I kept blacking out. They had to put the oxygen mask on me, just for me and my baby. Cause they wanted to make sure that we were okay because as I said, I had preeclampsia and stuff. It was really bad. Um, so they came back in my room. They checked my cervix. They're like, okay, you're 9 centimeters dilated. So we're gonna prep you up, and you can push. So as soon as they said that, I immediately started crying. I don't know. I guess I was so excited because I just knew that I was gonna be able to meet my son. So I just started crying. I'm like, I have to call my mom, my brother, tell them, come on, I'm about to go have my baby. Like, y'all just come on in here, please. Um, I pushed for 3 hours. um, it was really bad. Um, TMI, but I pooped myself. Yeah. Laugh, haha, yeah, that's funny. Um, but yeah, I pooped myself because they you gotta push like you pooping. They say so. That's what it did, and they ended up pooping. Oh well, a lot of people did it, so and I was in so much pain. I ain't even paying no attention to it. I'm like, I ain't care. Look, people always be like, oh, um, well, oh, if I go into labor, I'm gonna be so embarrassed when people look at my vagina and the baby's coming out. I'm trying to tell you right now, that pain, you're gonna be so focused on that pain and you're gonna want your baby out. You don't care who look at the cootie cat. You're not gonna care. I'm telling you, you're not even gonna worry about that. That's gonna be the last thing on your mind. You know. But yeah, like I said, I was pushing for 3 hours. He took a really long time to come out. But you'll know why in a second. Um oh, that's my son, sorry. Let's see. I was pushing, and they always tell you that the baby goes in and it comes back out. He goes in and comes back out. Well, not him. He didn't do that for the simple fact that when he came out, he wasn't breathing. So I basically was doing all the work by myself. He came out not breathing. When they put him on my chest, he was purple and blue. And my whole room got quiet. Um, the whole room was silent when he came out because people always they're looking for the baby to cry. Y'all know when the baby come out, they my son didn't come out crying. He was gone. I didn't know what to think. I was getting really upset because I'm like, what was there that I could have done different for it? Was there anything that I could have done different for him to be coming out breathing? And I noticed, well, I didn't notice at the time, but it took them a little minute to bring him back. And when they did, they put him on my chest. He was crying, but his right arm was dangling. And I'm looking, I'm like, why is my son's arm dangling like this? Mind you, the doctors were rude. They didn't let me know anything. Everybody in the room was upset because they said that the doctor was basically like putting her thumbs in my son's head, pressing them. And as the result of that, he had bruising and bleeding on his scalp, well, his skull, sorry. I didn't even know that they broke his arm. I was so focused on please get him out that I didn't notice, but everybody else said they could actually hear his arm cracking and popping out the socket. But anyway, he's here. Thank God. But now, after I had him then, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's really chunky. He was 9 pounds and 10 ounces. So congrats to me and kudos to me, honestly. I think I actually did a really, really good job because 9 pounds and 10 ounces, and then the epidural didn't even work, and I'm proud of myself. Honestly, my pregnancy should have been high risk, honestly, but it wasn't because my OBGYN, they never even told me that I had preeclampsia. Actually, I had to find out, before I had them. See, I didn't know. They didn't tell me that. You have high blood pressure. That's it. But they didn't actually sit down like, okay, this is more crazier than what it really is. I never knew that. But yeah, my son is here and he's okay. We did have to wait a little bit. I couldn't really do tummy time. I had to do that a little later for him, for the simple fact is they wanted to make sure that his arm was healed. So it was his right arm that was broken, and then they pulled muscles in his left arm. He had the bleeding and the bruising on the skull. You can just tell he was in excruciating pain from when they broke his arm, because when they brought him back, and I noticed when he opened his eyes, he had blood rings around both eyes. He had bruising on his right eye. Every time I think about it, though, I think like, wow, my son is really here, because people don't even realize, like, that could have gone bad. I'm just being honest. I would have lost my mind if they weren't able to bring him back, because they took so long. It took so long for him to come back. I probably would have been in a crazy house somewhere. I'm just being honest, because it was bad. Like I said, the whole room when he came out was quiet. At first, I was hearing everybody, room me on, you can do it. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Push. You're doing really, really good. To silence. And, I didn't know what was going on. I'm just looking around the room like, why is everybody so quiet? Looking. Then they put him on my chest, and I'm like, hold up. Babies are supposed to cry when they come out. why is my son not crying? And his whole body was purple and blue. I don't know. That was nothing but God, because it was bad. It was it was really, really bad. Like this story, when I tell people the story, they like, oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? But he's so healthy. And you did it. And um but afterwards I had to make sure that I stayed in the hospital. I had to stay in there extra days. So I was in the hospital for 4 days. Just because they wanted to check on, my heartbeat and stuff, my blood pressure and everything. Um and it's true when they say that you love your kids. Because I was holding him, and she came in and she came to come check my pressure, and my pressure was really, really high. Um, and I guess it kind of scared her a little bit. So she went out. She brought a couple more doctors in the room, and she like, we're gonna have to check your blood pressure again because it's really, really high. So she's like, maybe if you put the baby down, maybe we can try it. So I'm like, okay, I'm confused, but I'm like, okay, I want to hold him, but I'm gonna put my son down, okay. And then it was back to normal. Um, yeah, it was back to normal. Um, but yeah, I tried to kind of like sum it up a little shorter. I didn't want it to be this video to be too long. Um, but yeah, if you have any questions or anything, you can feel free to just comment below. I'll answer anything, or tell me about your labor stories, or I would love to hear them. Um, but yeah, like this video for me, please. And you can subscribe to my channel. I will subscribe to anybody back, I promise. But yeah, thank you so, so much for watching. Bye-bye.